Center for Educational Media and the College of Education at Middle Tennessee State University are proud to offer professional development to K-12 educators in Tennessee through our online video library. The following video is presented by the Center for Educational Media in partnership with Professional Educators of Tennessee's Leader U Conference. For more professional development videos, check out our website at www.mtsu.edu/CEM.
In case you don't know me, my name is Tim Childers. This is my job title. I have been 7th and 8th grade English teacher in Bradley County with these two young ladies back here. I have been a technology coordinator for Bradley County. I have been assistant principal at a couple of schools in Knoxville. For the last 13 years, I have driven from Chattanooga to Knoxville every day because I don't have a life and I'm stupid. But if you want to find me, because I don't really have a work email address, that kind of thing, this is the link to find all of my social sites in case you want to follow me anywhere. I'll leave that up there for just a second at timchilders.bio.link. That'll give you my 2 YouTube channels, my Instagram account, my personal blog, my photography blog. I don't know. There's several things there. You can choose to follow me, or you can be like, why is there 5 of you in this picture? I love making these pictures, by the way. So the point of this is to try to talk about how to work smarter, but not harder. But the subtitle to this is, you can work smarter, but it's still work. Okay, I'm not going to try to teach you how to not work. You still got to do a few things. So we're going to talk about this, and this is basically, it's basically the same kind of outline I use with the administrators. We're just going to use some different examples and make it geared to the classroom. We're going to break this down into 2 parts. The first part is we're going to talk about some habits that you can create for yourself to work smarter. And then the second part, we're going to talk about some tech tools that you can use to work smarter. And I will try to get through the habits fast because the tech tools seem to be what everybody wants. But, you're here now and you're stuck. So here we go. So one of the things that you can do is use the technology that you have to streamline things for yourself. For instance, and I may repeat myself through this because I have 2 or 3 things that are sort of similar, and we'll talk about them again. But in Knox County Schools, we used Canvas. Does anybody use Canvas in your district or something similar to that? So in Canvas, you can create a question bank for your tests. You can use questions that are already created to create your tests. Canvas will grade your test. Canvas will give you the grade at the end. We finally, I was in Knox County Schools for 7 years, and finally in the 7th year, they promised us what they promised us 7 years ago, which was that when a grade gets posted in Canvas, it will miraculously appear in Aspen for the grade book. It can be done. And so there are a lot of ways that you can do that so that you're not always taking a load of stuff home to grade. Nobody wants to do that. In fact, I'm going to tell you, don't do that. Don't take a bunch of stuff home. And you'd be like, well, how am I ever going to get it done? Well, who really cares? Okay, so we'll talk about that. So in automating instruction, we're going to show you a little later how to let AI help you build your lesson plans. We'll show you how to let AI respond to emails for you, make your life a little simpler. But not just AI, in both Gmail and Outlook, depending on which system your district is using. We used, Knox County was always the irony was never lost on me that we were a Mac district using Microsoft products. So we were an Outlook school, but in those email systems, you can create sort of stock email responses. And I'm not talking about the automated thing of, you send an email to somebody, you get this thing back saying, I'm not in my office until, July 27th, and I will not be able to get to email and blah, blah. Not that. I'm talking about being able to say, okay, here's an email that really doesn't deserve the time it takes for me to write a response. So here is a bank of responses I've already created. I'm going to click on this one, hit send. It's off the table, okay? And so we'll come back to email in a little while. And then the other thing is, even as classroom teachers, you're going to have to learn to delegate a few things. It's probably more important that administrators learn that because they are really, really bad at it. But you're going to have to learn to delegate and prioritize. Now, we're all familiar with at least I think we're all familiar with, the teaching strategy of chunking information, right? Every time I say that, I think about throwing up big chunks of something. I don't know why, but it always hits me that way. So you're going to have to learn to chunk your time because just a quick show of hands, the camera's not on you, but how many of you have a planning period every day that you rarely get to use? That is a travesty.
Okay. Rarely get to use or rarely take full advantage of.
Well, that's a different story. Okay, that's on you. Okay, but we have, we are really good in education about saying you've got a planning time, but you've also got a meeting to attend. And honestly, if you're going to have an IEP meeting, you got to call on a teacher who's not teaching a class, right? So, I mean, some of those things they're not able to get around. But you do need to prioritize your planning period. And by prioritize, I mean prioritize it. We'll talk a little bit about boundaries here in a little while. That there are things that you need to be able to accomplish in that planning time that is structured for you. Not for the teacher down the hall to go watch their class while they go wash their hands, or to go to some meeting the principal's had on the books for 27 minutes now. So prioritizing your planning period. And then to delegate where possible. Now this, this has sort of come into play, especially in high schools and I don't know about elementary schools. Do you have PLCs in elementary schools? No? Yes? No? I don't know. I only know high schools. Okay. I'm getting a lot of yes. So when you're looking at those PLCs and they're designed to sort of look at student work and to look at the teaching practice and how we can improve the teaching practice in order to improve the student work, it is possible to use those people in your PLC to help you create the lesson plans you're going to teach. If there are 4 people in your SLC, you shouldn't all 4 be constructing 4 different lesson plans. Learn to delegate some of that. Take a little bit of load off your plate as much as you possibly can. Now, I say that knowing this. Teachers love to shut the door of their classroom and live in their own little world. Okay? I know that because I was there. And I didn't have a door in the room that I was in. Did we, Patty? No doors. I could tell you some stories, but I won't because I don't have time for that. But you're going to have to open the door occasionally. You're going to have to let other people into your life. The other thing is to figure out who you are as a time person. And I forget, I should have looked this up because I'm going to look really stupid right now, but I think it was Daniel Pink, might have been Simon Sinek, but I think it was Daniel Pink, who talked about the differences between larks and owls. Anybody heard those phrases? Okay. So I know about me, all right? I really wish this thing was working. I know about me. I know that I'm a lark. I am up at 4 o'clock every day. I was up at 4 o'clock this morning. That's 3 o'clock Murfreesboro time. And by 5 o'clock, I am working. Now, I've got an hour and a half drive to work. I used to have an hour and a half drive to work. So I would get to work by at least 7 or 7:30 at the latest. School started at 8:30 because I wanted that private time in my office to get more work done because that's my prime working time and I just wasted an hour and a half of it on the road, okay? So between 5 and 10, I am on it. And so like right now, being retired, I'm already sort of planning out my days. I know that on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm going to Panera at 6:30 because that's when they open, and I'm going to spend an hour and a half at Panera drinking coffee and writing books. And so I know that. I'm going to be writing scripts for my YouTube videos. I'm going to be doing a lot of other kinds of writing during that time. I have 2 blog posts that I've got to write for and those kinds of things. Do the editing, do the posting. I know I'm going to spend that time there. I know that I'm going to get up at least one day a week way before sunrise, even in the summer, and drive an hour or hour and a half to a waterfall so that I can take pictures. I know those are going to happen because that's my morning time and that's when I am productive. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I am a useless person, okay? So as an administrator, and you don't really have so much of this luxury as a teacher, but as an administrator, that's when I got up and walked around. That's when I went to visit classrooms. That's when I went to see teachers. That's when I walked down the hall to meet with somebody in person rather than sending them an email. It was during this time when I didn't want to write anymore. I was done. My day was over. But for you, it might mean, and I don't want to get ahead of my slides, so let me back up here. For you, it might mean that if you're a lark, then you've got some things that's going on, but you want to plan your lessons such that in the afternoon your kids are going to be doing some kind of activities because you are done standing at the board talking forever. Okay? Hopefully you're not doing that anyway, but that's what I have to do. You might plan more physical activities in the afternoon, do your detailed tasks with work in the morning, and then for the owls, you may get more of your detailed tasks done after the last bell rings and the kids go home, because that's when you're hitting your stride. About 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're ready to get it, and school's over. What happened? Okay, so if you're an owl, you might be coming to school 5 minutes before your contract time, because you don't want to be late, but you don't really want to be early. Where if you're a lark, you're going to be like the teachers that join me. I've got teachers, again, we started at 8:30. I've got teachers in the building at 7 o'clock in the morning. It was a race between me and a math teacher to see who was going to be there first in the morning. And I was driving an hour and a half, and I beat her sometimes, but not all the time, because she'd get there at like 6 o'clock.
Yep, math teacher, 6 o'clock.
There you go, okay? As you're trying to figure out a way to work smarter, figure out who you are. Are you a lark or are you an owl? And so try to do some adjusting there. The other thing is that we need to get away. Now, it was from technology. It was interesting to me. Is the lady in the room here who asked the question about cell phones this morning? Is that you? Okay. It was interesting to me because we have fought that battle tooth and nail for years at my school. And so, this past year, we decided finally, let me back up a minute. So, my ladies back there from Bradley County will remember I was probably a big cell phone proponent early on, back when they were flip phones, and you had to punch a number 3 times to get the letter you wanted, and kids were like putting their phone in their pocket and texting in their pocket because they could feel which keys they were supposed to do. I was a big proponent for using cell phones in the classroom because we didn't have Chromebooks. And we didn't have laptops for every kid. And we were lucky at our school, we had 4 or 5 computers in the back of pretty much every room. So we had sort of a station kids could go through. But it was like, okay, so I can set up a poll anywhere, a poll everywhere, whatever it was, on the screen and ask some questions, get some feedback from kids. They can use their phones, they have a little fun. Then Kahoot came out and some other kinds of things that kids could be involved in. And then we came into the smartphone era. And suddenly things got really interesting, okay? Because now kids, let me back up. This year, we set up a policy. There is no cell phone use in the classroom, period. Teachers were allowing kids to use their cell phones to listen to music while they were doing, like personal work, if they were like writing, or they could plug in their headphones and listen to music. No, plug in your headphones to the Chromebook you have, but leave your phone off. And so we provided every teacher at the school with a shoe cubby that hangs on the door, And the kids were to put their phones in the shoe cubby, and they weren't supposed to have access. If they go to the bathroom, they don't take their phone with them because that's where the fights happen. So what we had a hodgepodge of cooperation. So we had some teachers that were doing that, and then we had some teachers that said, if you put your phone down on the desk face down, that's good enough for me. But psychology tells us if that phone buzzes, I am not going to be able to concentrate until I know why it buzzed. And I'm going to look at it to see if that was a text message from my mom or if that was something on Snapchat, and I'm going to put the phone back down, and suddenly I have broken the policy, and I am sent to the alternative to suspension room for the rest of the day, and I lose my phone all day because I checked my phone to see why it buzzed. I don't find that to be wholly attractive, but we were trying to learn something new. What we found was at the end of the year, one of the administrators came to me and she said, have you ever looked in the office at the drawer where they collect phones? I'm like, no, why would I do that? She says, well, I went by there and looked the other day. There's 50 phones in there that nobody picked up because they all bring a burner. They bring a phone to get taken up, so they still got their phone. I mean, you can't win this battle, okay? You cannot win it. You might be able to win a few skirmishes along the way. But my advice, which has never been useful, is you just have to learn to be more interesting than the phone. Okay? Good luck with that. But you need to get away from technology too, which kind of goes in the opposite direction of learning how to use the tech to automate your life. You need to get rid of things that are hindering you from being productive. Does anybody know what this number is? 352. I know it's a random number, and you're not supposed to know, but we'll have a little fun. Anybody want to take a stab at it?
How many times you look at your phone a day?
The average number of times a person looks at their phone every single day. Now, I'm probably more like 1,000, okay? But that's the average. My mom probably, looks 20 times, so that brings the average down a little bit. But that's the average, 352 times a day. Now, I want you to think about that. If I pull my phone out and I look at it to see what's happening and I put it back down again, I have just used my phone for 1 second. So if we take, and I'm not a math teacher, please don't tell me I'm wrong here, but if we take 352 seconds, we have wasted an entire hour of our day looking at our phone screen for nothing. That's 5 hours a week you've just lost. That's a lot of time. You got to get that time back somewhere. Are you staying up later at night to get your work done because you wasted 5 hours looking at your phone screen? Now, if I pick up my phone and I look at it and then I'm like, oh, what's happening? And I see I've got 5 notifications on Facebook. Let's spend about 25 minutes figuring out what that is. Oh, and now here's something over on Instagram. Let me waste a little time. Now suddenly I've taken 5 minutes or 10 minutes, 352 times a day. Okay? And suddenly that hour is just minuscule of the time we waste. And I am as guilty as anyone. I am going to leave my phone up here so that I can see what time it is. Okay, and I will use it for instructional purposes here just shortly. Bear with me. So, you need to set aside a time during the day for yourself where you disband all technology. Your brain needs this. Your brain will thank you. When you go have lunch, now, I'm a loner and I'm an introvert. And if I sit down at a table to have lunch with people, I do not want to talk to them. And I will go to my phone to show them that I'm not interested in talking to them. Okay? Sorry, I'm rude. But I'm having to learn not to do that. At our Thanksgiving table, when my 3 kids, their 3 husbands, my 5 grandkids show up, plus my brother's son and his girlfriend, we're all there having Thanksgiving, and the adults are in, we're crowded around, we got 10 or 12 of us crowded around a table that seats 8. And suddenly, everybody gets their phones out. my mom goes ballistic. Yeah, exactly. And so this year, we're instituting a new plan. There will be no cell phones at the Thanksgiving dinner table, period. Not even mine. And that's going to hurt, okay? We need to look at each other for just a little while. I've got a granddaughter. She is going to be a sophomore this year, maybe, I think. I lose track. Who is an artist on her iPad. And when they come to visit, she might spend 5 minutes not on her iPad, and the rest of the time, this is her. And she never looks up. I'm not even sure she goes to the bathroom, okay? And I can say that because she's never going to watch this video. But find a time, okay? One of the things that we have become notorious for, according to studies, I've not studied this personally myself, is bathroom breaks and phones. We have nothing better to do but sit there and look at something on the phone. Go to the bathroom without your phone sometime, okay? It might not take you quite as long. So find some free tech time. You will have to create this for yourself. And then for your classroom, it's going to be very tempting. How many of you have devices for all your kids? Anybody? Yeah, more and more. Yeah, most of the year. More and more. We did. Knox County Schools bought Chromebooks for everybody. Okay? And then when they broke them, we just had to give them another one. But you're going to have to prioritize some time in your classroom where those devices have to go away. Okay? So use the rubric that you are being judged by to create offline activities that force kids to learn to talk to one another again. They don't know how to do that anymore. Okay? And I'm not being facetious here. They don't know how. When I go into the cafeteria at lunch, half of them are still on their phones. They're not talking to each other. They're talking to somebody, but they're doing it online. So try to take some time where your brain and the brains of your kids are off of the tech stuff, okay? And then set some expectations. Please, set some expectations. We're going to talk about this a little bit more in depth when we talk about boundaries, but set aside a time when you are not going to be available, okay? Put it in your syllabus. Let your parents know. Let your other teachers know. If you email me at 5:30 at night, I'm probably not going to respond to the next day because I am not checking my email. That's hard. Especially when your boss calls you into the office and says, "Why didn't you respond to my email last night?" Well, hey, you emailed me at 9:30 and I go to bed at 9 o'clock and you know this. I'm not emailing you at 9:30. It's been a running joke because in Knox County, at least at our school in Knox County, we've gone to this 865 Academies thing, and now we have regions of supervisors. And so we were in Region 5, and the Region 5 updates always come out at 6 o'clock at night. What the heck are you doing all day? Send me an email at 3. Okay? I'm not reading it. So let your colleagues know, your principal especially. Let your students know, let your parents know that you do have some time that's just for you and not for work. Please, please do that for yourself, for your family. I have always regretted that this line right here was never in the movie. It's in the book, if you still read books. Because I read this book years before the movie came out, and I loved it. It was absolutely a page-turner. But Jason Bourne says at one point that they have to stop, they have to get some sleep because rest is a weapon. And it is a weapon for you. It's a weapon for you to protect yourself. So there are a few reasons why this is true, okay? One is that when you are lacking sleep, you cannot concentrate. Your brain is befuddled. There are two important things that happen while you sleep, okay? One is, if you're on a diet, that's when you lose weight. Trust me, I know, okay? Your body discards all the things it doesn't need while you're sleeping. The other thing that happens is your brain runs a reformat program while you're asleep, especially in deep sleep, and it moves stuff around like a filing system on your computer. It puts stuff into long-term memory. It gets rid of stuff you don't need anymore. It files it where it's easier to get to and easier to find. It's one of the reasons why when you are trying to access information, you usually look up and to the right because your brain is trying to sort through all of the things in its filing system. And if you're lying, you look up to the left because you're trying to make something up. Keep that in mind when you're talking to kids in the classroom. So you will have a shorter memory, you'll have an impaired system if you're not getting enough sleep. And if there is any career on the planet other than being a doctor that will create an atmosphere of never enough sleep, it's teaching. And please do not allow yourself to fall victim to that trap. You deserve better, okay? The other thing is that not getting enough sleep will make you sick more often, causing you to miss work, causing you to have to write lesson plans, causing you to not be there to teach your kids, causing them to do worse on the state test that decides whether you're a good teacher or not. Okay? So get the rest. Allow your body to heal itself at night. And, I mean, trust me, I have spent a long, long time thinking I only needed 6 hours of sleep. That's where I lived, 6 hours of sleep. It almost killed me. I have to get 7. Sometimes I get it, okay? And the other thing is, talk to your kids because they're not sleeping. Trust me, they're not. Elementary kids, maybe. Middle school, high school, nah. We had a kid, y'all may remember this, we had a kid on our team. His name escapes me, which is probably a good thing since I'm being recorded. He would fall asleep during class. He fell asleep every day during class. And so I happened to have my little flip phone handy, and I took a picture of him one day with slobber coming out of his mouth where he'd been sleeping so hard. And we had a parent conference, and the mom came in, and she was like, my kid goes to bed at this time, and he's asleep, and he's, I don't think he's sleeping during your class, to which I just handed her this printed picture of her kid pretty much spitting on my table from being asleep. And that's when we learned that she lived upstairs and he lived in an apartment downstairs with an outside door, and she would call him on the intercom at night to remind him it's time to go to bed. That's how she knew he went to bed. And then he would sneak out the door and go spend half the night with his cousin 3 blocks over, and they were out doing all kinds of stuff. Your kids are not sleeping. Be a role model for them. Talk about the need to sleep. Make it part of your instructional plans. This is one of the things that really got me, and I'm way off on a tangent here, so I apologize. But Jamie Oliver did a television show a few years back on working with school lunches. I don't know if any of y'all ever saw that or not. One of the ones that really got to me, he was dealing with like kindergarten kids, and everything they fed them at lunch was something kids could pick up with their fingers and eat. Now, I like to pick stuff up with my fingers and eat, but I don't want to eat everything that way, okay? And so when he asked them, why are you doing this? They said, well, they don't know how to use a knife and a fork. And he's like, you're teachers. You should be teaching them how to use a knife and a fork. And so they made some meals. They brought the kids in for lunch. The teachers, the principal, everybody went around showing them, teaching them how to eat like human beings. And it was amazing. It was just amazing. So you think, well, I shouldn't have to tell my kids about sleep. Well, maybe you do. Maybe you're the one that has to do that. Are they going to listen? I don't know. But at least they'll have an opportunity to make up their own mind. So, because, look, this one right here, controlling weight gain. That was one of the things that happened to me when I was not sleeping enough. I weighed 235 pounds. So, it is too important not to do. Don't let your job take that away from you, okay? If the work doesn't get done, it doesn't get done. We'll talk a little more about that in a minute. The other thing that I would recommend that you do is to change your mindset. Everybody that I know, except me, loves a to-do list. I hate to-do lists. I lived most of my life without one. It worked just fine for me, just forgetting stuff that wasn't important. So we need to change our mind from the to-do list to, I might do this today. Okay? I might. We'll talk about this in a little bit, and I'll show you an app that I use now. But I've got a friend of mine that at Fulton, an administrator there, that she loves to write her to-do list down in her journal because the action of crossing those things off was extremely pleasing to her. Okay? But it took her a while to realize that when she got to the end of the day and she still had 5 things on the list, she didn't have to stay there until they all got done. She could go home and put them on tomorrow's list. Okay? So it's important that you change your mindset. We'll talk over and over probably about the 80-20 rule, but 80% of the things that you need to get done can be done in 20% of the time you have. And 20% of the things that you need to get done will take 80% of your time. So you're going to have to decide, where is the priority here? What are the things that are going to be time-consuming for me that have to be done? I need to at least get that. And then if I don't get the rest of this, it's no big deal. Changing your mindset will reduce your level of stress. Not at first. If you're one of those people that has to get it all done today, you're going to be very stressed out for a short time, okay? But it will impact you positively down the road because you're going to realize that, you know what, the world didn't fall apart because I didn't get that done today. All of my kids still showed up for class. The parent still got called. She was very happy, even though it was a day late. She was very happy to talk to me. Now, if your boss says, I got to have this done by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you need to try to get it done by 1 o'clock in the afternoon because you don't need that stress in your life. The other thing that it will do if you lighten up on the to-do list is it will allow you more flexibility in your day. It will allow you to be interrupted from time to time with important things, okay? Because the last thing in the world you want to do is tell a kid, I don't have time to talk to you right now because I've got this thing I got to get done. That can be devastating, okay? So if you are spending the time working with kids and your to-do list is just sort of sitting over here stagnant, if you're one of those I have to get this done people, you're going to be really stressed out. But if you're one of those, you know it's going to get done when it gets done, I'm okay with that. You're going to be fine talking to this kid. And you will hear a lot more that way than you would be if you were sidetracked with being stressed over your to-do list. And we talked about this already. I'm not going to go back over that. I will mention this. At the end of this session, I have a QR code on the last slide that you can use your phone and grab this presentation if you want, because we'll have some links in here to some tools and stuff that you may want later. And you're welcome to use that, copy it over to yourself, use it yourself if you want to at your school, share it anywhere, watch it on video back there. You can do that as well when we're done. The other thing is that if you will do this, it will allow you the time to do some self-reflection on your own work habits. Why did something get done? Why did something not get done? Is it important that it should have gotten done? What can I do differently next time to get it done? Was it not important, and can I just not care about it anymore? Okay? The self-reflection part is also important. All right, boundaries. We're going to talk about boundaries for just a little bit. One of my favorite authors is he's now deceased, but is a guy by the name of Henry Nouwen. who was a Jesuit priest in the Catholic Church. And he wrote about boundaries at a time, actually I read his writing about boundaries at a time when I was studying boundaries. And it was extremely, extremely helpful for me because I lived most of my life without any. I was a boundaryless individual, okay? And Henry Nouwen says that to live your life without boundaries is like living in a house where all of the doors and windows are always open. And people just come and go anytime they want to. And when you decide that you're going to establish boundaries, you have to close and lock the windows and close and lock the doors. And the people who have been coming freely in and out of your house are not going to be happy with you any longer. And they're going to start pounding to get in. And you have to stand your ground. You have to learn to open the door when you're ready to open the door, not just because they need you right this minute. Boundaries are the things that establish where I end and you begin. And if I don't have any boundaries, I don't know where that is anymore. You're just all a part of me in some form that I have to deal with 24 hours a day, and I have no sense of me anymore. Okay? Now I'm going to move on because I can get choked up about that because it was a very sad part of my life. So, if you are able to set boundaries, personal and professional boundaries, okay? One of the boundaries that I have tried, and it may be on another slide, so if I come back to it, I'll just skip it, but one of the boundaries that I've tried to instill in the teachers that worked under me at Fulton High School is your family always comes first. Don't ever choose your job over your kids, ever. And I would remind them of this every time they would come and say, is it okay if I take Thursday off to take my daughter to the doctor? I'm like, you don't have to ask my permission to take Thursday off. Just tell me you're not going to be here Thursday because your daughter's sick and you got to take her to the doctor. You don't need my permission to do your family, okay? So, and some of them learned it, some of them never learned it. They still ask permission all the time. But learn to set those boundaries. I am not going to check my email after 5:30 at night. Or I'm not going to check my email between 5:30 and 9 o'clock because that's my time with my kids. And after they go to bed, maybe I can glance at it and see what I got to do for tomorrow. But during that time, don't expect me to come to the phone. Don't expect me to answer the email. Don't expect me to grade your late work so I can get a grade in for you. You didn't care about turning it in on time. I don't care if you ever get the grade or not. Set the boundaries, okay? Now, we've got some in here that are brand new teachers, and you're going to feel the pressure. If I do that, I might get fired. Well, if you get fired, you didn't need to work there anyway. Okay? Well, that's just, I'm retired. I can say whatever I want to now. So find a place that respects you. Here are just a list of some of the things that you can do with the time that you have done to prioritize your life in practicing self-care with your boundaries. Read a book. Take a yoga class. Go to spin class. Take a walk. In Japan, they have this thing, I think it's Japan, called forest bathing. It's not what it sounds like, but they take at least an hour walk in nature where they concentrate on nothing but the nature. And they do that for self-care. It's a great thing to do. You should try it sometime. They don't walk and think about work. They don't walk and think about what movie they're going to see on the weekend. They concentrate on the nature they're in. God put that nature here for a reason. Let's utilize it. And then I would also recommend that you express these expectations in ways that people understand. So when you establish some boundaries, put it in your syllabus so both your kids and your parents have an understanding that this is your time, not their time, and you'll get back to them after this time is over. Along with these kinds of things, times that you'll be able to answer the phone. I cannot tell you how many parents just showed up at school demanding a meeting with me without calling ahead. I refused. I wouldn't meet with them. I was polite about it, but, you know, I had one threaten to call the school board and get me fired. I was like, here's the number. So, you know, again, boundaries are going to make people knock on your door for a while. And then, when necessary for your own personal self-well-being, steal stuff. Okay? Just steal it. You don't have to create every little thing from scratch. You can borrow from colleagues on lesson plans or activities that you want to do with your kids. You can look online for things. I don't recommend teachers pay teachers. Please don't. I used that a few times. It was a bad thing. And you can use AI. We'll talk about AI a little bit more here in a few minutes. So, that's the boring part. Let's get to the tech tools that everybody came for, okay? But there are some habits that you need to practice if you're going to work smarter. You can't just walk into work one day and say, I'm just going to work smarter. Do the same thing I've always done, I'm just going to do it more smartly. Doesn't work like that, okay? There are some things you might have to change. Okay, now, in this presentation, I'm going to put up a slide like this that gives you a tech tool we'll talk about. That picture is a link, so if you download this presentation later and put it in slideshow mode, you can just click there and it will take you directly to what I'm talking about, okay? How many of you use Symbaloo right now? Okay, I chose wisely. How many of you have never heard of Symbaloo? Okay, because I've been using it for like 12 years now. All right, so, but this is one of those things that I learned about back when I was working with the Discovery Educator Network. They taught me a whole lot. So Symbaloo is a place for you to curate and store all of the websites that you need, okay? So if I open this up, this is going to go directly to my home page on my computer. Now, I've deleted a few things in the last 5 days related to education, but on this page, I had tiles there for, and I still have a few there. I see Munis up there, for Aspen that we did our gradebook in, for T and Compass, for Canvas, for writing POs for the Knox County Schools Network, all of those things where I didn't want to have to memorize a web address. I just made a tile. Now let me show you how easy this is. Okay, I just made this tile in the last meeting. I don't want it anymore, so I'm just going to drag it up here to remove tile. It's gone. I want to make a new tile. I'm going to click here and I'm going to type in Knox County Schools.org/Fulton High School. Here's the address. I'm going to say add this tile. I can change this picture any way I want to. I can change the color of the tile. But if I click there, it's going to take me to Fulton High School. Didn't take me there this time. Fulton High School. Let's go back. I've probably typed something in wrong, so let's go to edit this tile. Now, let's just do this. Let's just throw this tile away again. Whoops, remove the tile. And let's just do Knox Schools. That's what I did before, knoxschools.org. Okay, so now if I click here, it should open up knoxschools.org for me. It should. Probably won't, but it should. I love when technology doesn't work. All right, so here is Twitter. Twitter's working. And I've got links to my social media sites, my YouTube channels, other things up here. But when I was a classroom teacher, all the way back in Bradley County, which was 14 years ago, I set this up on the back of my computers in the back of the room as the home page back there, with websites linked to help on English, math, science, social studies. And I would assign a kid to go back to the room and work on something there while I was doing some other instruction with other kids, and let that sort of be the tutor for the day. So things that I have done, you'll see up here at the top there is sort of some tiles up here. So this is a web mix that I put together for a presentation I did on making photos and editing photos. A presentation that I did on all the tools you can use for using your phone as your camera. And then this was I copied this from somebody else, 50 web tools in 50 minutes and 60 web tools in 60 minutes. So I have saved them all as my own. You can go online and search within this site for like third grade math and find somebody who's already built a Symbaloo page with a lot of sites for third grade math and just bring that in as your web mix. Now you control your version of it. It's really, really handy for teachers to use, not only for yourself, but if you set them up for your kids and they have their own device, take them to that page and tell them to set that page up as their home page on their Chromebook. And every time they log in, they have all the tools that you've set aside for them to use. And it's much easier for them to get there than if they're having, I don't know if any of y'all have ever had 32 seventh graders try to type in a URL. It's not a fun thing, okay? This eliminates a lot of that. So Symbaloo is a great tool for you to choose the websites you want to use for yourself and set it up. My bank account's on here, my credit cards are on here, my video editing stuff is on here. I mean, everything that I need is here, okay? I rarely, unless I'm searching for something, I rarely go anywhere else but here. Or you could set up one for your kids that they can use really quickly and easily on their own devices. So that is Symbaloo. Anybody use Feedly? Okay. I purposefully did not clear my Feedly out over lunch, which is what I would normally do because I didn't want it to be empty when we came here today. So Feedly is a website that allows you to collect things that update regularly, like a blog post. If you follow a particular educational blog, like KQED or something like that, you can pull that in, and anytime they post something new, it just sits there waiting for you to look at it. And you don't have to go searching for a lot of stuff anymore, or again, memorizing a lot of web pages. So with Feedly, and there is an app for Feedly that I use on my phone, but for Feedly, and again, I've gotten rid of pretty much all of my education stuff. I do apologize. But I've set up different buckets over here: education, fitness, nothing in there anymore, food, friends' blogs, miscellaneous, photography, self-help. There's news down here. And so when it comes in, you'll see up here under all, I know it's really small, so I'm going to point it out to you. Over here under all, it says there are 22 new items. So my news comes into here, my photography blogs come into here, Food 52 comes into here. I learn a lot about how to make good desserts I can't eat. And so I can also do it by subject. So looks like everything here at the moment is news. That's unfortunate. But if I go to John Cass, John Cass was a radio commentator, I think, and he now has this website. And so I would look at that, I say, okay, I've read that, or I don't want to read that. I just mark it down here as read. It goes away. It doesn't show it to me anymore. It's still there. I can go find it, but it doesn't show me anything anymore. So I can, once I've read it, it goes away. And if I decide I want to read it later, I just don't do anything. It'll still be there. It's always there. Okay? So if you are following pages, if you teach science, and you're following teachers who provide information for science teachers, you can put them into a Feedly account, and you don't have to go check to see if they've done anything new lately. It's going to come there automatically for you every time they post. And so curating the web is a really important way to work harder. Now, I don't recommend this app, but I'm going to show it to you in case you want it. But if you're one of those people, and I sometimes am, if you're one of those people that just cannot, you just can't turn down temptation, okay? And you're sitting down and you're trying to write a lesson plan that you got to get done before you go to bed tonight because you're way behind. But it's gnawing at you about, what's happening over on my Instagram account. I posted something earlier. How many likes do I have right now? Anybody commented on my picture? It was really cute. And those kind of things bother you, then you can download a program called Self-Control to your computer. Now, this link will take you to the place to download it, but I have it installed, unfortunately. So if I open it up, it comes up here to tell me I can start to block, but you notice over here on the right it says edit the block list. And right now the only thing I have in there is Twitter. Now you've already seen that I was able to go on Twitter a while ago. I showed you my Twitter feed. So I can set the time that I want all the way up to like 24 hours, or I can set it for, let's say 17 minutes. And then I just click start to block. It's going to make sure that I really want to do this by asking for my computer password. And now Twitter is blocked. So if I go over here to Twitter, nada. It's like your school system's filter. The things you really want to go to, you can't get there. Okay? I have a story about that, but I'll save it for another time. So this is death mode. Okay? Now, in 16, 17 minutes, Twitter's going to come back again. But if I just need to take the temptation away from myself, or if you need to take the temptation away from your kids at home for 20 minutes, this is a great way to do it, okay? All right. Let's go back over here. SwiftKey. Anybody use SwiftKey? If you've got the latest version of iOS, you may have this already. I downloaded it as an app a long time ago. Let me just see if I can mirror my screen here. I think I'm still online. There we go. Okay. So if I wanted to send a text message, I'm going to send a text message to me, because that's sometimes how I take notes. Okay. I am a one-thumb typist, and I am a one-fat thumb typist, which means I make a lot of spelling mistakes. And yes, I'm one of those people that wishes that autocorrect didn't always type duck. So SwiftKey allows me to just swipe across the keys. And this should show you on the screen what this looks like, because it does show up here. So I can just drag my thumb across the keys. I make far fewer spelling mistakes. I get done typing faster. This is not just in message. This will work on any editing program on your phone. It'll work in Google Docs. It'll work in email. It is the keyboard, okay? Now, like I say, I downloaded the app a long time ago, but somebody in the earlier session told me they had it available, but they didn't download it, so it may have been added to iOS at some point. You just didn't know you had it. You may have to go into keyboards under settings and turn it on. But it will be there if you want it, and for me, it really does speed up my typing. And again, if I can get through, because I'm using my phone more than my laptop during the day. I'm answering emails on my phone, I'm sending text messages on my phone, and if I can get through those faster and put my phone down, the happier I am. And I should have left my phone up here. The other app that I use, and I didn't always use this, I hate carrying a spiral ring notebook around with me to keep a to-do list. I hate it. I hate paper, I hate pencils, I hate pens. God created keyboards for a reason, and so I try to do His bidding. So you'll see right here, Todoist. Now, I'm one of these people, I've got friends of mine down here with their email, and they've got like 27,842 unread messages. Those people drive me insane, okay? I am always trying to get rid of these little notifications, but on the Todoist app, those stay there. So if I open that up, it will show you, here are the things on my list that actually you've seen they've been up there since the 4th of June. I've done a few things and got rid of them. These are a few things that are standing back here. I have a coffee video that I'm in the middle of making on 10 reasons why I love coffee. I've got to plan the next waterfall location I want to go take pictures to. Haven't done that yet. I want to get some more information on a book called Deep Work that I found on a YouTube video the other day. And I want to get more information on get whatever that word is done. I did have it spelled out in the last session, and I apologize for that. I put the asterisk in there, which is another book. I want to figure out how I'm supposed to do that. And this, you'll notice up here, this is today. Now, I have other things on here. So I go to my inbox. You'll see I also have writing at Panera. Start the day here at 6:30 for coffee and writing. And I put that in there to repeat every single Monday. And if you just type in the word every Monday, it knows that. The AI in it just generates the to-do list for every Monday, okay? So I'm going to go back to just today. And I'm going to say, okay, I got an email. I don't have time to answer it, so I'm going to have to say, like, answer John's email. And put it in there. And now you'll see today, because these are all the 4th, today I have answered John's email. And it will stay there until I get rid of it. It will be a constant reminder that something I need to do. So if I'm in a meeting and somebody tasks me with something, I can just quickly type in a few notes here. It will remind me to get started on it, give me the due date when it's due, all those kinds of things. And then when it's done, I just click that little circle out there and it disappears. Okay? I have personally found this app to be extremely helpful for me. Now, it may not be the kind of thing that you need, but again, I'm one of those people, I don't make lists. I don't cross stuff off of lists. I have spent most of my life just sort of flying by the seat of my pants, acting like I know what I'm doing, kind of like today. And, and it worked for me for a while. But then things got real and I had to actually keep track of stuff. Now this is one that you may or may not use. Anybody heard of Firefly by Adobe? One? Awesome. Okay, so Firefly is a new text-to-image generator from Adobe. People that give you Photoshop and Adobe Premiere and all that kind of stuff. It's free right now because it's in beta. It will eventually be a paid program, I'm sure. But you'll notice this picture is here because this guy does not exist. None of the people that I have put in these tech tools are actual people. They are all people I asked Firefly to create for me. Okay? And then I just had to edit them a little bit to get them in this box. So, which if you look back, I didn't mention this at the beginning, but let's go back. You may have noticed this little firefly down here at the bottom. This person does not exist. This room does not exist. I asked Firefly to create a particular image for me that I wanted to use as my first slide, and this is what it gave me. It doesn't do fingers really well, so his fingers up here look like they're part of Frankenstein, look like they've been sewn back on at some point. It's still got a little work to do, okay, so keep that in mind. But I do want to show you just really simply, if you are looking for images, now, let me back up. How much time do I have? Oh, I got 28 minutes, plenty of time. I am a fairly firm believer in the 10-word rule. And the 10-word rule just states that if you need to use more than 10 words on a slide, you need 2 slides, okay? Any slide that's got 12 bullet points and 150 words in 10-point font, shoot them, okay? Because they are abusing you, and they all work for the district. So now some of my slides have more than 10 words. That's because I was in a hurry. But my ultimate is I would love to create slides, and I do sometimes, entire presentations that don't have any words. Everything is built off of pictures. Now, there's a reason for this. Kids cannot listen to you and read the screen at the same time. It is physically impossible. So you want to put as little up here as possible, because what you're telling them is more important than the 12 bullet points you put on the screen. Okay? Because if you've got, let's make it more realistic. You've got 5 bullet points up here, and they're all complete sentences. And you're talking to kids about the first bullet point. They're reading number 4. They're not listening to you. They've tuned you out. So the more imagery you can use and the fewer words you can use, the better off you are in most teaching circumstances. Not all, but in most. And finding pictures that are legal to use, which is important, is difficult. Now, I subscribe to a Storyblocks channel that gives me images and video and music. It costs me like $300 a year, and I still can't find the images I'm looking for some slides. Now I just make them. Okay? So let me show you how easy this is to use. All right, so here's the site. It's firefly.adobe.com. Again, just clicking that picture will take you here. And over here on the left is text to image. Now, it automatically defaults to artwork. I have to change it to photo. It automatically defaults to square. I have to change it to widescreen. So there's a few steps involved here, but it doesn't take long. All right, so I'm going to say a teacher pointing at a chalkboard filled with math equations. And I'm going to give it just a minute to give me some artwork like that. I don't like any of those, obviously, so I'm going to change it to a photo, except sometimes my Chrome doesn't want to actually click on anything. Let me get Chrome just a minute here. There we go. So I'm going to change it to a photo. So it's got to think for a few more seconds. And then I want to make it widescreen. Yeah, I know you're laughing at one of them already. I can see that. Like I said, now Midjourney, if you've ever heard of Midjourney, Midjourney is on version 5 or 6. Adobe's still beta. This is baby stuff, okay? So now I have an image that I can just download, and it's 16 by 9, which is Google Slides size. It's the size of your laptop screen. And so I can kind of choose which one I want. And let's say that I like this one in the lower right, but it's not quite what I want. I can click here and say, let's try 3 more that kind of look like that one. Now, I have no idea. These are not math and real math problems, I'm sure, so don't get stuck there, okay? All my math teachers, Patty. So it will give me more, okay? Now, you can also do, some fun with it. I want a Cocker Spaniel with a bone in its mouth. I think that's 2 words in it. You just type out what you want. Now, I'll be honest, it doesn't do real well with fingers yet, okay? Fingers are kind of messed up. But, who doesn't love this? Come on. So to create the images that you want for your kids, or to create an image that is now a writing prompt for your kids, it's just this simple, okay? It will put the little mark down here that it's created by Adobe Firefly when you download it, okay? All right. Let's talk about AI for a minute. We're going to talk about 3 things. How many of you have used ChatGPT? A few of you. How many of you used Bard? That's Google's new AI. Okay? And then we're going to talk about Notion. Notion is a productivity app that's free if you don't want the AI built in. But if you want the AI, it's $10 a month. ChatGPT is free, but it stopped collecting data in 2021. If you want to get data later than 2021, it's $20 a month. Okay, so Notion was a pretty good deal for me. So I'm going to open these three up just to kind of show you what they do. All right, that's ChatGPT. And again, these pictures will take you there. And then Notion. And I have some prompts. I'm going to get rid of this because we're going to start this over again. Okay. I have a link here to some prompts that I've already written up. So this first one, I don't expect you to be able to read this, but I went back into my email account and I pulled an email from a teacher who did not like the way that I disciplined a particular student in her class, because I'm pretty restorative, at least up to a point, and she is off with her head, okay? So I've changed the names in the email, but this was the email that she sent me. So I copied and pasted the email, and I wrote, let's bring this up where maybe you could see a little bit of it. I wrote this prompt. Write a response email to the following. Write it in a casual voice, make it kind in nature, and let the teacher know what the next steps will be. Here is the email. So, now, let me just say up front, I would never just copy and paste this and send it as an email, okay? It's a starting point for me. When my anger level is DEFCON 10, it's not a good time to write an email, okay? So, down here at the bottom, here is my prompt. I hope this email finds you well. I just received your message regarding the incident involving Samantha. I want to assure you that I take this matter seriously, blah, blah, blah. First, it's still writing, okay? So, first I want to acknowledge your feelings and the impact it has had on you. I didn't really want to do that. But ChatGPT was nicer than me. Next, I will address Samantha's behavior and take appropriate steps to ensure that she is held accountable. I will meet with Samantha, her parents, and any other relevant parties. And I did, for a little bit. Furthermore, I will work closely with school administration and appropriate support staff to provide the necessary guidance and assistance in dealing with this situation. It's a great email that I could never, ever write on my own and keep my job. I showed this to a friend of mine who was another assistant principal at Fulton, because she got an email similar to this during state testing when her stress level was through the roof. And she was like, I've written 9 emails so far and I've deleted them all because I just can't tone it down. And I said, do this. And she was like, holy crap. That was so easy. So writing emails is a great way to use AI. Now, if I go over here to Bard, and I put the same thing in, Bard acts a little differently. Bard doesn't type out line by line. I kind of like that for some reason in ChatGPT. Bard thinks for a little while, and then it spits out the entire answer all at once, okay? So, you'll see up here, it's thinking. And here's the email, okay? I'm so sorry to hear you're feeling attacked and unsupported in dealing with Samantha's behavior. I understand how frustrating, upsetting it can be when a student is not being held accountable for their actions. Isn't that a great way to start an email? I wouldn't start it that way. I would be more like Dan Aykroyd and Jane, what's her name? Jane, you ignorant slut. So, you know, that's, and you have to be a really old Saturday Night Live fan to get that joke. ChatGPT and Bard do a pretty good job. Now, the other thing is, let's say that you're thinking about a book that you want your students to read. Now, I brought a book that I bought that I used as sort of some background on a book that I'm writing called Francis and Clare, The Struggles of the Saints of Assisi. And it is 375 pages long, okay? And I don't know if I want to buy the book or not. So I need some more information about the book. Now, this is where ChatGPT can be a problem, okay? I'm going to start a new chat, and I'm going to say, give me a summary of the book, Francis and Clare, The Struggles of the Saints of Assisi by Kathleen Brady. I apologize, but as my knowledge is cut off in September of 2021, I couldn't find any information on this book. Well, that sucks. Okay? So I'm going to take this over to Bard, because Bard doesn't cut off in 2021. I'm going to reset the chat. I'm going to put the same prompt in. It's thinking. All right, Brady's book tells the story of these two remarkable people from their childhoods to their deaths. Here are some of the key themes of the book. And then it gives me a source, a website. Now, here's the thing you have to know about ChatGPT. It makes stuff up. Okay? They call it hallucinations. There have been several people who've been in trouble professionally. Not maybe the most recent that I'm aware of is a lawyer who used ChatGPT to write his summation of an appeal or something he was doing, and it cited several cases that do not exist. Okay? Jordan Peterson wrote about an article that he did on himself, asked it to write an article on himself, and it provided links to articles. They're written in MLA style. They look great. They're perfect. They don't exist. I did a video review of a jacket called the 7-in-1 Photographer's Jacket last year, and the company out of Germany, Hochland, saw my video, sent me the newest version called the Parka Pro, and asked me to do a video review of it. So I went into ChatGPT to sort of see what it could come up with as, maybe a compare and contrast between the two. The problem is, and I knew this going in, is that Parka Pro didn't exist in September of 2021. It's a brand new jacket. But ChatGPT gave me a great script with totally false information, citing all the new stuff in the new jacket that does not exist. It's not in the jacket. Okay? So be careful. All right? But I could click this link if I wanted to. I could also go into. I'm going to go into Notion, and I'm going to hit the / and I'm going to say, ask the AI to write me something. Okay. Now I have a prompt over here. Let's do this for giggles. All right, write a 1,500-word compare and contrast essay about Ahab and Moby Dick and St. Francis of Assisi. I can't think of any two characters that are any more different than those two. So, copy and paste that. And it writes 1,500 words, okay? Despite their differences, Ahab and St. Francis have some similarities. Both characters are driven by their beliefs. Ahab with his obsession to kill Moby Dick, St. Francis with his devotion to God. Moreover, they both have a sense of purpose, with Ahab seeking revenge and St. Francis. What? Okay, I would write that. So we'll put it over here in ChatGPT. We'll do a new chat. and it breaks it down by paragraph for me. Now, how long would it take me to come up with that outline? A long time. Now, here's where you have to be careful because your students are going to use this to try to write essays in your class if you are an essay teacher or writer, okay? Writer, teacher. Publishers like Springboard, which we're using in Knox County for English materials, and other publishers, they have AI detection software. You just copy and paste, and it tells you, yes, this was generated by AI, or it will tell you this paragraph was generated by AI, and it will tell you that your students did not write this paper. But there are now websites out there that are designed specifically to fool the AI searcher. So you could take this, copy it, put it into that tool, it would rewrite it in a way that the AI people can't detect it. I've tried it with my writing coach at school, and she was not a happy camper, okay? So you have to be careful with this. Now, for me, I don't have any problem as an adult with a fully formed frontal lobe. I don't have any problem using this as a starting point, okay? Anybody ever seen Finding Forrester with Sean Connery? Okay. If you remember, if you saw it, the teenager in there who's writing, Sean Connery gave him the first paragraph of something he'd written, said, start here, and then just write. And then he turned it in as his own work, and they discovered that the first paragraph he didn't write because it had been published somewhere. It's a great movie. You should watch it sometime. But that's sort of what ChatGPT is for me. Here's a starting point. Here are some things that I don't have time to think about this, okay? So I'm just going to make it work. All right, I'm at 2:20. I got to hurry. Because you're classroom teachers, I want to also show you this. Now, I don't recommend this for like every lesson plan that you're going to create. But most teachers are required to have at least 3 lesson plans in a folder somewhere for your sub in case your daughter gets sick and you got to take her to a hospital or the doctor's office on Thursday, okay? So you can write some generic lesson plans about the topic that you are studying. Maybe it's a review for the students with some activities for them to do, and even something that's going to be graded if that's what you want, and you can get a great starting point here. So I have a couple here. Let's just look at one of them because there's something else I want to look at after this. All right. Now, here are 2. Let me just show you the difference in these 2. You're a 3rd grade teacher with 25 children in class. 3 of them have IEPs, 2 are ESL students. Write a 30-minute lesson plan to teach 2-factor multiplication problems. I don't even know if 2-factor multiplication problems is a thing. I don't know if it's actually something 3rd graders do. It's the first thing that came to mind. On grade level, include a 5-minute warm-up activity and a 5-minute exit ticket activity. Show differentiation for the students who need it. ChatGPT did a great job with that. I'll show you what it looks like. Bard wrote about this much stuff, okay? So I went in and I made this change. Include step-by-step instructions on how to conduct the lesson. And suddenly Bard gave me a lesson plan. So you have to tweak things every now and then to get what you want, all right? So let's copy and paste this one. Do I have any 3rd grade teachers in here who teach 2-factor multiplication? No? Okay. Probably not. All right. And so it's going to start. Here are the objectives. Here are the materials you're going to need. Here's the warm-up activity. We had a meeting with our SLCs at school. We're changing to a new group of teachers next year. We sort of swapped everything up. And so I had a meeting with my brand new teachers. About half of them I'd already had, and half of them were new to me. I went into ChatGPT and I said, give me 15 5-minute icebreaker activities that I could do with this group. And it gave me 15. I didn't like any of them. I said, give me 10 more. It gave me 10 more. I found one I liked because I hate icebreakers. I just hate them. that thing about getting up and rubbing everybody's shoulders today, I was like, oh God, do we really have to do this? It felt good, but I'm like, you know. So anyway, I got one and I wrote it, I put it back in there and I said, expand on this for me. And it gave me everything I needed to do that icebreaker. I didn't have to do any study. I didn't have to go online and search through 15 websites to find something that I thought was going to work. And everybody loved it. So anyway, here, I mean, this is even down to the exit tickets of collecting flashcards, okay? So let's go over and see what Bard does. Let's reset the chat. Because you may find for your particular things that one works better than others. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in Notion because you know, it costs $10 a month. You may not want to do that. So here is the lesson plan. Again, Bard just kind of spits it all out at once. Main activity, differentiation. And it's not great. I really think ChatGPT does a better job with this. But I do want to show you one other tool. So I'm going to close all these out. And that tool is something called GLASP. Anybody heard of this? It's new to me. I've known about it for about a week. And I was like, crap, I got to put that in this presentation. So GLASP is a Chrome extension. Again, if you click that link in the thing, it will take you to the Google Play Store where you can download it and install it. It does two things. Well, two things for me. It does more than this, but it does two things for me. It will take a YouTube video. It works best with 20 minutes or less because ChatGPT only has a certain number of characters you can put in a prompt. And if you go beyond 20 minutes, you've got too much text, okay? So it will give you a script of the entire video, word for word, and then it will throw it over into ChatGPT and give you a summary. Okay? So let me show you. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to just use, I've got it installed already. So I want to go to YouTube. And I have, I used the other one before, so let's use this one. Go away. There we go. So I've got this YouTube video, I think. Let me try it again.
Need a content writer?
Yeah. This is on a commercial. Video has not started yet, okay? This is five habits that help me stay consistent on YouTube. Probably not a YouTube video you need to watch, okay? But I watched it. So if we look over here at the top, you'll see the GLASP logo, transcript, and summary. And if I click that, it immediately gives me the entire script of the video, word for word. It does a great job. But right next to that transcript and summary is the ChatGPT logo. And when I click that, it's going to copy and paste that entire script into ChatGPT, and all I've done is create a prompt in this workflow that says, write a summary of this video. That's all it says. And so here it is. This is what the video is about. Now I can decide, do I really want to watch this video and take 18 minutes of my time, or do I want to move on? Okay? I don't know if you do a lot of stuff with YouTube. I do a lot of stuff with YouTube. And this is, I mean, it's just, it's next level stuff for me, okay? If I go into, I'll go ahead and do this next one as well so you kind of see what it does here as well. And I got 3 minutes. All right, we're about done. Let's go to a new, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go over here. I want to do a new video. This one is on, after I read 40 books on money, here's what will make you rich. Now we could all get into that one, okay? So here's the video script. Now again, notice over here, here are the timestamps. So if you find something, you can just click there and it will take you immediately to that part of the video. You don't have to watch the whole video, just watch that section. Then click on ChatGPT summary, copy and paste. Here's what it's about. Now, this is totally different than the last time I used it. The last time I used it, it listed 7 steps. Okay? So it's different. But I guarantee if I went in there, I would find this is still a really good summary of the video. ChatGPT is not going to repeat itself. Okay? Keep that in mind. It's going to create something new every single time. Okay. We are out of time. I would ask if there are any questions, but we're out of time. So I'm going to tell you that we're done, and if you've got questions, I'll hang around. You can ask them. No, I got one more thing. Hang on. I promised you a QR code. Let's go there. If you want a copy of this presentation with links to everything we talked about, just shoot that. It will give you a view-only copy. You can make it your own. You can copy it into yours as your own. You can edit it any way you want to. You can use it yourself. You can share it with others. Tear it up, destroy it, delete it. Use it the next time you're asked to do PD for your teachers. Whatever. I don't care. It's yours. And then that's it. We're done.